Wherever you want to see it.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just dropping the fucking yoga.
Okay. Thank you.
They should raise it. Yeah.
Like a local thing. It was either that or the
Yeah, we cover everything.
and
Yeah.
right.
Right.
American Heritage.
And then they cover, I mean, the whole rehab covered, emergency covered, everything covered. And that was like $2,000 just to go.
He was in
Yeah. Whatever Medicare.
And he said,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Exactly.
He did? You know,
Yeah.
I just don't do well.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Well, Dave, I've had
Yeah.
pretty
Exactly.
Oh, 10 hours, always complicated.
And I have that. Welfare.
Unlike any other benefit.
Well, like,
Come on, it's good.
yeah.
I used to have a frog there.
Are you paying the $3?
Well, yeah, I found out recently I had this new.
To worry about, oh my God, I'm not in shape for it.
We were down to like
The poles are stretching out.
80,000.
Whenever you
So
feel
they
like.
gave me this drug, the side effects were like, I was afraid to take it. I was like, yeah, heart attack, stroke, go on. But
Are you all doing that as a beer center?
it's called,
No, I want to though.
Texas Stella or something. It's, 13,000 a month. And so they applied for me to get like co-op coverage and all this stuff. And they were sending all this food and everything.
Well, no, I see you. I gotta try to do.
And they said, and they covered it.
You step back to the ladies' mystery.
No, no. Yeah.
Oh, so they are.
I thought I had to pay some favors. No, because I checked at first, I said, well, they got covered. And Dr. James said, no. But she looked into it, and it wasn't covered.
My mom got brought.
But that was good.
Hi.
Pomeranian, I did not want to formulary, I knew.
Mark.
But I take it out there and I was going like.
Yeah. Literally, I think I would do it on slide by slide. I'm probably gonna more or less slides.
I've met more nice people there, I have to say.
Oh.
Really, really good people.
I'm trying to figure out how to put it up as a presentation to a PDF. I'm just trying
So I have one, I
Figure it out.
He did, I filled it out.
to.
I brought it now.
Oh, for two of it.
But it's a good question. I don't know because I haven't.
Yeah, you should be able to scroll down, like.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could do that.
Can I get in? Yeah. You get in. I have a cream and sugar.
Oh, hey, Marla, bless him.
Get better. I'm feeling me, maybe Monday, yeah.
Are you doing upper and lower?
Huh?
Upper and lower?
Yeah, it would be during the morning, they do physical, yeah, in the afternoon, they do.
Oh, yeah, you want to great work.
They teach you how to, like, teach you go like, I like go in the cabin and, yeah, and then lower the other one.
I'm on
Gotta get on my bike.
You're out walking around though, right?
Yeah. That's the main thing I said is keep off. Thank you. Yeah. Except to go to the doctor.
Please do.
What's that?
I said, if you can work it out, by all means, please do. Okay, of course. Perfect.
I got a former.
Can you click on this? There you go. And then so the camera is basically.
Oh, there'll be
showing
people
you-
on the camera.
Yeah.
All right, thank you
People,
for
like,
reminding me.
watching the presentation. I'm gonna log on to see what it looks like. I will let you know.
All right.
Disturbed the ashes by an oak tree, so
I never understood whatever happened with it. Joe Crock gave us $100 million that place.
well, the city owned it for a while, you know.
Yeah.
And John had a little bit of it for a while.
The whole thing was in the bottom.
But they did something illegal as far as, you know, they were people hospitals, but they don't do it.
Right.
Like 3 to 5 days. Short-term hospice,
Right.
but they had long-term. But it turned out to be, it was illegal, they were doing something, some short-term, making it into long-term for people, and it was a way to do big records. So they had to sell it because it was being bought.
Let me tell you, people see back up here. My mom did that to us for a year. You know, I don't know.
I don't know how they. You mentioned you got to look for a year. I only pay like, the most I ever paid was like 18, 25 numbers.
Most people.
Yeah, I know, I don't really figure that out, but I didn't question it.
This gives them a pretty good assisted living. And in fact, there is some qualified. Well, the whole list, just started on this. I'm gonna go ahead and try to get rid of the.
Oh, that could be, yeah, that could be.
And that's what I was trying to do.
Not on wood, just start.
So
It's just a little.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's TJ, yeah, point where.
I think we're on hold.
Yeah. My mom will be 86 this year.
What about Carol?
Hey, how are you?
Carol taking what? She seems to be okay. She still has that visual. Doing fine, yeah, Carol's nice. She's
Still dry.
no, trying to give up a car.
Yeah.
3 years
I'm
ago.
walking pretty.
I agree. She doesn't, that's been the biggest. She doesn't, that's been the biggest story of her life. She drove out of the road after we went to the Starbucks in my coffee. She came out and looked at the car and
Yeah,
like,
you know where to go.
you can.
Down the hall, around the corner.
And she
Back to her.
He's just, we're not gonna couple of quick things with this. This is a study about whether or not there's pathological ethical, I believe to be true, and how to reduce anybody with a credit card, just so many people have to do it. And more importantly, how to keep long-term relapse from happening. So I think it's. How are you? Good to see you. You guys know that I'm like. Yeah.
So because you like, you know, that thought, you know, that's that. Would you like to do? I'm working this year.
Oh, paperwork.
Yeah. And would you like? And you said, if you help me out.
Hey, how are you?
I thought we got to do it for him.
Better. Right, yeah. Better than the way. Huh? You did? Did you really? When were you there?
Yeah, like I'm on the first.
And you were there?
Yeah, well, you were past that.
I never got it.
Of course, that's. Look through here now.
They sure was me. I wonder what happened. Probably maybe Johnson. What do you? This was a script. Yeah. Yeah, because I was there, was it after surgery? Like 4 or 5 days. When I first came in, they couldn't operate.
No.
Right.
Just film out. Film out on Wednesday. Yeah.
Never saw. I was.
What's it called? What's it called?
I was pretty out of and they were giving.
Like about the guy, so about the boys. There's other laws. The other boy.
I mean, everything you could think of. Yeah. No, the way the doctors prescribe. Yeah, pharmacists off the street, right?
Well, welcome everybody to the this Saturday of the month symposium. The consortium. For those of you who don't know, this group was started by myself and Dr. Perna in order to bring up issues that are cutting edge in the sense of the latest and greatest research being done for HIV, especially for those of us that are over 40. I'm just turned 40.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I look just like Eric, don't I? He's about my age, yeah. And speaking of that, but the consortium is based on the fact that, you know, we are living in uncharted territories. We are definitely beyond, we have sailed beyond the distance that anybody has known. We're the Christopher Columbuses of the times in terms of HIV. So why not know everything there is to know so that we know which way to go, or at least try to pick a way. The only way you're really going to get to know where to go is with the knowledge that you get, the knowledge that you have. We're giving you the sailing instructions. I want to shout out to Eric, who just left, but you know, AHF is kind enough to sponsor this meeting, and we've got coffee, acai bowls, quesadillas here, so you stay around and have a quesadilla too. But they've been nice to sponsor this meeting, as well as they sponsored the yoga class that I do every Wednesday at the Joyce Care Center. You need to know more about that, or you already know about it? Great. If not, come, because it really helps. I not only learn by these things, but I'm living testament to most of it. So I'm going to read you something that Dr. Kapera wanted me to. Today we will start with the insurance broker, then the talk leading about how to help persons with AIDS with HIV with methamphetamine, which has shown to lead to increased HIV viral load. Dr. Brown and Dr. Caperna and others will present a research study that demonstrates newly infected persons with HIV have a greater chance of medicines not working. Did you know that? Did you know that you have a greater chance of your medicines not working if you're using methamphetamines, and part because of chaos causes fewer days that they are taken. That's mainly the reason. If you reduce your, you know, missing just a day is like leaving the doors and windows open and say, please rob me that day at your home. You know, same idea. It's that, you know, I don't know, the doctors don't stress that much lately, but it really is best you take it at exactly the same time so that you are covered from the most effective time that the medicine is in you till the next dose. And 12 hours is really pretty much it. They are also, there also might be minor players, such as a drug interaction with ARVs and methamphetamines. There are no approved medications to treat methamphetamine use disorder. Also, there are a few studies showing any promise for medication
assisted treatments and non-HIV infection. We propose using medications, assisted treatments for the treatment of methamphetamine abuse disorder in the HIV patients. Numerous medicines have been studied for methamphetamine withdrawal, none with any significant clinical. Dr. Caperna sent several articles. They're very good reviews of all the drugs used to help you stop or use less meth. Atchison is an Australian researcher with a very good review from 2022. He also did a study with Viance for Liz for a month with patients without HIV who had a severe withdrawal symptoms, who used meth for a long time, such as years, and were admitted to the hospital. They found that Viance could be safe, tolerated, and helpful to stop using less meth. We consider using similar protocol, but with persons with AIDS not admitted to the hospital, so not as sick as this group. We have a pharmacist to help us with a drug interaction and what drug biomedical might be best to help. We hope Dr. Marcos, a doctor of pharmacy, can help us with this. We are forming a team of disease addiction specialists and a team with Palm Springs. Jeff Taylor, who started and directs HARPS, has an interest in Palm Springs, has an interest in helping find patients in Palm Springs to participate. We know that meth epidemic is not just in San Diego. There's a lot of use also in Palm Springs. Anna Mosley-Katz, whatever, has published an exhaustive review of 21 medications used in randomized trials. None were effective. Of the multiple pharmacologic approaches, we believe an analog replacement therapy. We believe that an analog replacement therapy with a stimulant shows the most promise. There was only one study that addressed concurrent opioid disorder that will be frequently used in HIV patients with this study. She briefly discussed passive immunotherapy for methamphetamine abuse disorder, which is yet another approach, albeit logistically complicated. There have been few reports of stimulants for methamphetamine withdrawal. An attempt in 2010, for example, was not successful. That's a very doctor-like written document that tells us basically you start or currently using meth, you're in trouble. We'll continue that discussion after we go over the insurance questions. And the reason why I'm breaking it up this way is because I think you'll have a lot more questions for Mark. And I'm going to introduce him. Mark Rapini is an insurance broker with Target. Yeah, okay. Well, Mark, I have my insurance through Mark, full disclosure. But he, in my experience, and I've been with him well over a year, has been the best insurance that was out there. I was able to get through him. And I didn't have all the answers to the questions when I got the insurance, but I had found that they cover a lot of things, including, if we get back to the methamphetamines, they cover even rehab, rehabilitation programs as well. So without a doubt, without further notice, I have you present Mark McQuitty presenting on insurance.
Thank you, John. Thank you for having me here. I appreciate it. What an exciting topic for a Saturday morning, right? Insurance, or Medicare specifically. That's what I specialize in, is Medicare insurance. For show of hands, who has Medicare here already? Most everyone, okay. And the second part of what I've learned over the years is the ADAP program and how it connects with Medicare. I've been in the Medicare space since 2013, and I remember specifically meeting with a new client at Twigs on Park Avenue for coffee, right? And I'm going through the Medicare information with this gentleman, learned about his medications, and at that time learned about ADAP, which is AIDS Drug Assistance Program. I didn't understand the relationship other than ADAP paid his medications, but taking that further, and what I learned over the years is that through ADAP, there's a program, if you have Medicare, that will pay the premiums for you. And wow, the light bulb went off, you know. And my job, as the way I see it in a Medicare broker, is to just help the person that I'm working with get the, you know, educate that person to get the best option that's available to them. And in my opinion, with this ADAP program that pays the premiums, why not get this person that's eligible for Medicare, at least tell them that they can get almost the best available, which would be a Medicare supplement, i.e. more like a PPO and so forth. So that's why I'm here today, because over the past 11 years, I've learned a lot about how to help people with Medicare and ADAP and at least understand the programs that are available. So are there any opening questions on Medicare right now that anyone has that would like to just ask a question, or ADAP specifically?
How about discussing traditional Medicare versus Medicare Advantage? Yeah.
All right.
What's the next one over?
So John, I've been working a little bit over on what to talk about, right? So that was the first question, and he kind of guided me to that. So good question. Here on the screen here is just kind of a basic example of, on the bottom here, what would be a Medicare supplement and a Medicare Advantage plan. So think of a Medicare supplement as using your Medicare card as your primary insurance, and the supplement is your secondary, which just protects you from the 20% our government doesn't pay for. So with Medicare and a supplement, you can see roughly 90% of doctors and hospitals throughout the United States. The nation is your network. Your first question is, doctor, do you take Medicare? Yes. When can you put me in your schedule? That's the main benefit of the Medicare and a supplement. And for someone that doesn't have ADAP, the supplements cost about $150 to $160 a month when you turn 65. And then older you get, at least in the state of California, your rates go up. If you have the ADAP program, it's going to pay that premium for you, which is a very nice thing. The other type of plan is a Medicare Advantage plan. These come in two different forms. There's an HMO and a PPO. The HMO, your primary care doctor dictates the medical group you're with. So say you're with UCSD, your primary care doctor can refer you within the UCSD network, and you're generally just with one network. Oops, got someone coming in here.
Can you get through?
Not at all, not at all. Take your time.
Thank you. So serious, I'm not used to.
Can I just ask real quick, so Medicare and supplement, are you talking about the regular rhythm Medicare plus ADAP as a supplement?
No. So the supplement would be from an insurance company. There's different plan levels. Plan G, Plan F, or Plan N
Right.
are the typical plans that someone gets with a supplement.
Okay, good enough.
Okay.
Yeah, but finish your talk.
Yeah. Because I'm thinking as you titrate into advanced, like scan and all those others, what is it? What's the brand name of one of the supplements that you do with the original Medicare?
Yeah, so Medicare supplement brands are from traditional companies that you are familiar with: United Healthcare, Blue Cross, Blue Shield, Humana, Aetna, most major insurance companies, and some you've never heard of before.
Okay.
Your goal with the supplement company that you're with is you just want them to be healthy financially to pay that 20% that
Right.
the government isn't paying for. The main difference between supplements, would be price. So Plan G, for example, would be our government set benefit. And then how much does United Healthcare charge for it? How much does Aetna? How much do these different companies? So there's not a whole lot of difference from benefits that you get through a supplement other than the gym membership, right?
Over-the-counter benefit.
Yes, and some have that with supplements, but Medicare supplements are more or less just giving you the freedom to choose your doctors and your services that you get. You have more flexibility with Medicare and a supplement, and that's the main advantage. There's very little extra money that comes out of your pocket with a supplement. If you have, ADAP, they're paying all the premiums. If you don't, you're paying your monthly benefits no matter what. And you got a deductible from our government, which is $240 this year.
Which is huge because in the past, switching doctors has been, some doctors do not accept Medicare and whatnot. They're very restrictive in their plan. They want all the money goes. They're not going to accept a lower rate of reimbursement when they bill. They don't. So you really have to ask your doctor, as you said, the first two questions. Do you accept Medicare? And when can you see the next year? And you're good. That's huge. And trust me when I say this to this group in particular. In one of the programs that Possibilities did, I had two different people who suddenly were left out in the cold when strips stopped accepting medicine. There you go. So you never know when that problem is going to arise. That's why, and therefore, he was stuck without insurance, without a doctor, without anything. And that's a horrible feeling when you're getting drugs that cost you thousands of dollars a month, and they're not covered suddenly. So I put him in touch with Mark, and he was super happy. Put him in touch with Perna, who is not accepting new patients, but he will if they come through me. It's funny. I didn't say that because this isn't taking on the patients, but the guy was just like, oh, God, outstanding. So you could be in the same situation tomorrow. Make sure you're insured properly. That's the biggest question. Always make sure you're insured properly.
Yeah. And I'll let you finish, but I had thought that those companies were part of the Advantage program, so such as Molina, Blue Cross Blue Shield Promise, but you're saying that Medicare, non-Advantage of those companies as well.
Yeah, so United Healthcare, for example, has a Medicare supplement plan or a Medicare Advantage plan. Blue Shield, Blue Cross, Aetna, most of the major companies do have both. Scan is a company that's more local to California and San Diego area. Is only a Medicare Advantage plan company. So that would be an example of a company that doesn't have both types of options.
And that's just goes to medical drop $32,000.
Yes. Believe me, I'm still reeling from that. Last year during the annual enrollment period, October 15th, there were so many people in San Diego that were scrambling. And if they had the Medicare supplement, they would have not been scrambling because they would have been able to continue to see their doctors. If they had a Medicare Advantage plan, that's what Scripps said, hey, we're not getting compensated enough. We're going to do away with those. And it left my clients either how much do I want to pay to stay with my doctors, or I'll stay in a similar type of plan, like an Advantage plan, and find a new group of doctors to go to. So Medicare Advantage plans are good plans, nothing wrong with them. And they offer a lot of extra benefits that you can see here. Like they offer dental and vision a lot of times, transportation, gym memberships, pretty much with both types of plan options. Over-the-counter allowance. So imagine you just have $100 every quarter where you can just go to a catalog and get items from CVS or some sort of drugstore like that. They do have better options. And when I first started in 2013 in Medicare, how can these Medicare Advantage plans cost $0 extra a month and you just pay copays and offer all these benefits? And when a person signs up on one of these plans, our government says, all right, United Healthcare, you're going to take care of David or Joe or Susie, and we're going to give you about $1,000 a month. And the risk is on you now, right? I mean, if that person is seeing doctors more than family and friends, it's probably going to cost that insurance company more than that $12,000 or so they get on an annual basis. Go ahead.
I've always been confused about the Advantage thing because of the age. But on the prescription drugs, is that something you have because I have Medicare and Michelle, and I have a different drug carrier.
Yep.
Is that the drug carrier is in that program, the Advantage program? That's
Yes.
what would be hesitant to do, because with I get everything, never get asked, I always okay everything, I can do my own prior authorizations on everything. And so I always fear that I wouldn't be, if I switch over, some medications I'm on will not be accepted by that program. And I think I tried 15 years ago, and take some of my prescriptions, so I could not do it.
Okay, so you have Medicare, Medi-Cal is your secondary?
Yeah, well, Blue Shield, whatever, Blue Cross, whatever.
Okay.
Secondary, and I had Cigna for my prescriptions up there. We're actually zero.
Okay.
And no copayment. And they give me everything. I even have drugs that are very, very hard to get that you would deny.
Come in, Dr. Burke.
That they accept. That's why I was wondering, who's the prescription drug carrier?
Okay. So
Is there a name of a
so Medicare Advantage plans generally have a drug plan in it. And the acronym is MA for Medicare Advantage. PD would be for prescription drugs. So they're referred to as MAPDs. So if someone gets, say, these are two Advantage plans that connect to UCSD, like Owens Clinic, which is very popular, and they contain a drug plan in it. So does that answer your question? So what you have is separate. So your drug plan is a standalone prescription drug plan with Cigna.
I guess I would have to look on their formula thing to see who they think that. I don't want to go through the hassle, have to appeal inside, sometimes they'll deny you, you gotta appeal, so you accept it. Meanwhile, you have no prescription drug for 6 months. Going through your
It's terrible. Yeah.
Just
Go ahead.
Experience standpoint, when I went to Mark, before I picked the plan, I gave him my entire drug list. And he went through and checked it. He did the homework for me, basically, of making sure that they cover that drug. So I know what you're saying, but why not have the expert do it for you and go through each drug and say, what, if anything, is going to cost more money?
Well, I think I did that 15 years ago. It changed long stuff, news and all of that.
Yeah.
I think Jerry had a thing on kind of the church over there. Yeah. That's longer than 50 years ago.
Oh, that was in 2015. And we did a forum on the Affordable Care Act because everyone was totally confused about the Affordable Care Act. Yeah.
But no, it was very helpful. But I'm kind of scared. Skeptical. Everybody does.
You worked hard to get everything working well, right?
They wouldn't accept that Advantage program. So then I had Dr. Prana as my doctor. I didn't want to lose him because I love him. They're right. I did before you left. And so I said, well, no, I don't want to lose all my specialists that I have, all the doctors I have, all the pharmacists I have. They all know my name, they all know my history. Now it's going on 20-some years. Why do I want to change?
You probably don't. Yeah.
Also, I get phone calls 20 times a day saying it's Advantage thing.
Very good marketing.
And it's like I get tired of talking to this can't, I said, oh, yes, it is for you. Why don't they try to tell me I'm wrong? And I get I'm wrong and I get everything I need. But
They're just,
they're
just trying to sell you something, obviously. And
well, I appreciate you if you're not saying that you're going away. Right.
yeah, it's.
And I'm not trying to discourage anybody here. I'm just,
Well, even yourself. I mean, I go see, not to just see.
I do that because there's the extra benefits I don't have. I don't have the extra dental vision. I don't have the gym membership, which I would use. I don't have those thing.
Do you want to continue to see Dr. Caperna?
I love my doctor now. I love Joe, but the doctor I have now.
Okay.
Is it now, I don't. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
It's a new topic.
We need to have her here to do
Yes,
that.
I'm working on that.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
The next thing.
Yes, it's,
By the way, she has drugs in her
it's in the works.
Good.
You said there's no drugs for meth. She has.
Well, yeah. That's,
I was asking what his name was, because I was gonna talk to you, she'd come, but you probably.
She's excellent.
yes, I am, and.
And her husband is.
I want them both to be here. That's the problem.
We live
So,
block or two from.
yeah, I want to have both of them here so. that-
Oh, wonderful.
Question,
Yeah.
about Medicare Advantage versus Medicare Supplement.
Yep.
Are you Medicare Advantage or something, or you
Right.
just?
I'm a Medicare insurance broker, and I do both Medicare Advantage and Medicare Supplement.
Because as a doctor,
Yeah, please.
I'm 62,
Yes.
65 yet. But when I turn 65,
Mhm.
I'm doing Medicare Supplement Medicare,
Absolutely.
because basically my impression is that they've allowed the health insurance companies into Medicare, and their interest is making a profit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, what you want is the freedom to see who you want to see.
Is there,
Right. Go
is
ahead.
there, if I might, just last question, is, if in fact you're not at 65, but as a prelude to 65, and you're on disability, is there one way that you're not allowed to have the Advantage program because you haven't met that 65-year-old criteria? You have to be original Medicare and or Medi-Cal-based insurance, meaning you can't have the,
So under 65 Medicare recipient is what you're asking?
right, so is that the set right? Meaning that you can't have the Advantage program because you're not yet 65, even though you're Medicare eligible.
No.
That's not the case.
Between disability and age.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm 55, right? So see, I've got I just got awarded Medicare this month.
Right.
I would be able to sign myself up on either a Medicare supplement or a Medicare Advantage
Oh,
plan.
really?
Yeah, you can choose.
Okay.
The key, if you know anyone that's getting Medicare before 65 or even at 65, and especially if they have ADAP, it is absolutely critical that if they want a Medicare supplement, they've got to do it within the first 6 months of starting their Medicare Part D, because it's a guaranteed issue. Medicare says, hey, if you're starting Medicare now, you can choose a Medicare Advantage plan like SCAN, which is very good, nothing wrong with it, or you can get a Medicare supplement plan that United also, carries. And what our government says is if you start Medicare, you have 6 months to get the supplement, which gives you more doctor options. And if you have ADAP, it's going to be paid for by Sacramento or federal government. And under 65 person, if they miss that window to get a supplement, they got to wait till 65. So I would have to wait 10 years, more than likely, in most cases, to get a supplement if that's what I want.
And would they possibly the penalty?
No
Or they
penalty.
They just can't get it.
The penalty might just be not having access to the plant, right? That's a
Right.
pretty big
That's what I
penalty.
mean.
Why would somebody not?
Because maybe they like the fancy things here, or maybe they were never told about the supplement.
Okay, so you're saying that you should already.
Yeah.
If you have the HMO or the advantage, I should say, that they would need to get the supplement? Is that what you're saying? I'm not real clear on, I'm a little confused.
Okay, yeah. Ask the question again and see if I can.
So you're saying that you're 55.
Yeah.
You choose the supplement, but you haven't chosen United Health. That's what I have. So you're saying by a certain age you have to, by a certain time you have to elect that supplement, or by a certain time after taking the supplement program.
I'm saying a person under 65
Which
that,
I am.
okay, that has Medicare, that gets Medicare, which is through a disability.
Correct.
To get a Medicare supplement, you would have to more than likely get it within 6 months of your Medicare Part B start date.
Okay.
Okay. After that, the application says literally if you're under, you can't even apply. It says if you're under 65 and you're past your Medicare Part B start date of 6 months, it says you won't qualify. Don't even apply. Don't even waste your ink.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I guess I had something to help that do what they were doing, because
You got
I've had it quite a while.
Good.
Yeah. Also, I also had a cow, that's what somebody else mentioned it. How does that affect everything?
It can affect a lot of things. It can affect.
I heard it, if you have both, that like, and I think he was pretty much explaining that, like, he doesn't want to change anything because everything is basically covered. And that's what I deal with. So I'm trying to understand.
You have share of costs or no share of costs?
I have a very small share of cost, only on some new prescription. My ADAP drugs are all covered, but a lot of my drugs. There's like, I think, cholesterol medication at $3.
Right, yeah, I'm worried about.
Yeah, okay. So that's it. But everything else is completely covered, and I've had the same doctor since I was here.
Okay.
So I'm really interested in understanding, because this is always
Yeah, I get it.
because when people say, what insurance do you have? And I'm like, well, I have Medicare, but Medi-Cal, and they're like, well, which one is, comes first? It's a question that I've like always said, I don't know which one comes, because I've always had them together.
Do you have an advantage plan?
You mean like United Healthcare?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have United Healthcare. Yeah.
Okay. United could have an advantage plan or a supplement.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I suppose I got it.
So anyone here, if you want me to just help you evaluate what you have, I'm not going to try to sell you a darn thing, but help you understand what you have. And, if I see an opportunity, I'll explain, here's something you could do, but more than likely you're probably in the best situation already.
The term, but maybe I'm saying it wrong, like, you doctor, I say I'm on Medi. Is that wrong to say that?
No.
Many.
Is that where it?
Yeah, Medi.
You wouldn't say that on the advantage.
You could be Medi on an advantage plan too.
That's right.
Typically, if I talk to someone that has Medicare and Medi-Cal, I say, more than likely you'll probably want to just stay Medi and not get an advantage plan, because it does give you more options for doctors. Sometimes people prefer to be on an advantage plan if they're Medi. That's not a problem either.
On the common, on the extra benefits there, maybe you won't want to say, if I want to stay with my Medi-Cal, which my umbrella,
Yeah.
Is there any other agencies that will give you that extra stuff, or does it have to be on the advantage one?
So gym memberships are very common on Medicare supplement plans. So that's on this list here. It's also almost in every Medicare Advantage plan as well. It's just
I can't. I don't have it on. I don't. It's not offered with my Blue Cross.
okay.
So is there another, like, does now places offered if I wanted to switch over, or am I getting into waters I don't want to go into?
I would have to see exactly what you're talking about to tell you.
Well, I mean, it's only pretty close.
Yeah, but if you had like Medicare scan, and then you have to say Molina, but you have Blue Shield Promise, at least your Medicare scan.
The Blue Shield Promise.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, good.
You don't quite have the answer yet from you, but.
Yeah, I have a question about, I have heard, and I don't know if this is true or not, that if you're cruising along well, you're aging well, you don't have any chronic issues, that an advantage plan is, a no-brainer. But that if you have chronic issues, one or more, HIV, or as in my case, HIV heart, then you may want to hold back. May not.
Maybe I'll pull back on the supplement.
I meant advantage.
Yeah, you said advantages. So if you're cruising along, you're pretty healthy. You're saying you prefer being on advantage plans are good.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Here's the problem with that. So nothing wrong with Medicare Advantage plans, but if you have a Medicare Advantage plan and you go to your doctor and you find out that you've got some new, medical issue, and you're like, wow, I would rather have more options for doctors now that I've got something new going on medically. You can't get a supplement in almost all cases because they have underwriting. They're going to ask you health questions. And that's the absolute worst time to try to get a supplement, is if you're on an advantage plan and you learn about a new medical situation, the questions on the supplement are going to say, has your doctor told you X, Y, and Z? And you say yes. On the application, it'll say, don't even turn it in. You are not going to be accepted. So does that make sense? Meaning, you don't want to wait till something comes up if you're on an advantage plan because your probability of getting a supplement is very low.
ADAP will pay for benefit, pay for your premiums.
Yeah.
For a supplement.
Yes.
Okay. Now I got Medicare like 20 years ago. And I didn't take a supplement, so I guess I aged out of that. But in June, July, I'll be 65. Do I have a chance to get a supplement again?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Okay. All right,
Absolutely.
and then my question is, does ADAP, but let's say I didn't get the supplement. Yeah. Does ADAP now pay for my Medicare A and B premium? Or
No, ADAP doesn't pay. Most people pay zero for Part A, right? If you work, you're working for Part B has a cost.
like 178?
174.70 this year. You're very close.
You can
Pull it out.
You can get that, so people don't realize. You just call the Medicare office and say, I want extra help. That extra health program, and they won't, you have to ask for it. And if you qualify according to your income and your zip code, you'll get that taken off your check. I have never had to pay that extra money for Part B because I went out and.
You have full Medi-Cal.
Yeah, but you get.
Full Medi-Cal is what pays the Medicare Part B. Extra help is related to medications only, drugs.
Oh.
So
But I
both
don't
are beneficial.
have to pay for the $178.
That's Medi-Cal picking it up.
No, on my check that I get.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, is that the same thing? Is that the
Yeah.
Medi-Cal pays that?
Yeah.
So you call it Medi-Cal office.
Well, ideal, yes.
And see, but it's worth a phone call.
I also have Medi-Cal, but I have a share across at 1228.
So you can get a Medicare supplement. Yeah. And you would qualify if you have ADAP, you don't have full Medi-Cal, and you would qualify for this program to where the premiums would be paid for the supplement as well as the drug plan. You'll still own the government Part B cost. Understand?
Without me putting words in your mouth, you also sound like you're not a captive agent and that you could probably help triage somebody if they had one of the working disabled programs to be able to pay for their Medi-Cal and Medicare. Do you help triage any of that? About that for those efforts?
Yeah. Explain the question again a little
It's
bit.
okay. It sounds like you're not a captive agent.
Correct.
You said, well, you're
No.
relying on.
I'm a broker that gets contracted with the different insurance companies. Okay.
When you say triage, I can tell you, call the extra help button.
Yeah, or if you're qualified for working disabled, this is what you get. You have to show an income. You got to go pay for your full Medi-Cal. You can get Blue Shield Promise. Got it.
Yeah.
For folks who have many, can you speak to the aged and disabled program that Medi-Cal offers?
I can't. I'm not familiar with Medi-Cal.
No,
That would be-
there's an aged and disabled program which relieves you from being in one of their HMO plans. You know, they were trying to get Medi-Cal was trying to get everyone into an HMO plan.
Right.
If you qualify for aged and disabled, you do not have to go into those programs and your costs are covered. A lot of folks don't know. I didn't know about this either until they sent me the wrong paperwork. And I went to Ivy Rooney and we got this all figured out. So with the right paperwork, if you're old or disabled, you might give Medi-Cal a call. If you call Medi-Cal, give Medi-Cal a call and ask about their aged and disabled program because it will just save you a bunch of bucks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you call two? Who do you have a Medi-Cal advisor person or
I don't.
how do you contact them and understand this? Do you call 211
I
or?
didn't.
Okay.
I took the problem to Ivy Rooney, and those of you who know Ivy Rooney, she's an incredible woman around town. And she just picked up the phone. She knows who to call. She just picked up the phone and called and got straightened out. But I imagine if you
AHF has a insurance counselor here. So does Owen Clinic.
Home clinics just lost it.
They have another person that's doing it.
No, they could.
Could I have you guys clarify, so are you talking about just the financial aspect, or are you talking about like turning you on to IHSS so you can get assistance with paying justice living your home as wage? Are you talking about just the financial portion of older disabled?
yes, it's a Medi-Cal program.
But are you also talking about the services that they then can provide you should you need, God forbid, assistance with bathing or dressing or?
Well, they offer the whatever Medi-Cal offers. Is
Got
what they- yes, whatever Medi-Cal offers is what they offer.
Got it.
Yes, no difference.
Got it.
Mhm.
But it keeps you out of those HMO programs.
And having to use their agencies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Got it.
Another way to look at it, my husband is over 65, I'm under 65.
Okay.
I don't qualify for disability.
Okay.
So, we're both with Kaiser.
Okay.
The ADAP TIP program pays for the platinum HMO
Yes.
plan for me,
Right.
so I pay nothing.
Yeah.
He's on the Medicare Advantage plan from Kaiser, he pays nothing.
Okay.
And we've noticed no difference in the quality of care between the two
Good.
at all.
Yeah. Kaiser has good doctors.
Yeah.
You know, an HMO system is just, you know, getting referred to specialists and getting hopefully the problem
difference
solved,
is I never have to ask, is it covered?
Yeah.
which is good.
I also happen to know that they have a very good, drug rehab program that, that's pretty intensive and pretty extensive.
This is Kaiser.
Yeah, so. Something
Good to know.
Has anyone seen the commercials with Joe Namath and
Oh, yeah.
Sling Medicare? It makes my life a little difficult because I got clients call me all the time. Why don't I have this or that? I'm like, well, you got generally a supplement and they don't give all the bells and whistles, but you can see the doctors you want to see. So that's the benefit.
When you have that, like the dental, when you see extra dental, I'm really curious about how much extra dental stuff. I mean, it just covers just what Ryan, because he didn't say anything about Ryan White. Whatever I can get with vision, Ryan White covers it.
Exactly.
It's almost the same as if the stuff you're offering on the, I see it's an extra dental and vision thing. Is that just for fillings and things? It's not for implants or anything like that?
The range is pretty broad. So most dental benefits come through a Medicare Advantage plan. The best one out there, if you will, is one with Aetna that gives you an allowance of say $1,700, even $2,700. You can go to any dentist that's a licensed dentist, get your work done. You would pay them, so it's $1,000 visit, and then get reimbursed back that money up until the allowance is met. But that's an Advantage plan, and nothing wrong with it. It's got a great dental benefit. So if I've worked with people that want an Advantage plan and their biggest issue is dental more than medical, then I usually show them the dental benefit plans that give them the most bang for their buck. It's like if you go with a scan dental plan, I think it gives you like $1,000 worth of dental, but it's got a network of dentists, and it's a slim. The options are slim on what they cover, like cleanings and X-rays. If you needed a implant, it's not going to be covered.
But
right?
the fine print between classic, Ulta plan with scan and make sure you read the benefits on which is part of each.
Yeah, if you look at dental as a separate item, though, the ADAP TIP program will pay for dental insurance.
Awesome.
So, for example, we got Delta Dental, just a standard Delta Dental plan for both of us, and that's covered by the HIP program.
And you can see the dentist you want.
See any dentist that takes in this case.
Perfect.
Also, if your insurance has no dental plan, there's the Ryan White program. You can take advantage of that, and there are certain dentists in town. I know American Indian Health Center covers that. Yeah.
You go every 3 months to get your teeth cleaned with Ryan White.
Yeah.
You do a lot for it.
I'm on the Mojica plan. Bend over here, comes again. Yeah.
But of course,
The plan offers a discount, but and I'm not covered by ADAP because I missed it by $3,000, and which is horrendous. I mean, just horrible. I got to tell my financial guy make less money for me. So
Give them a target. Right?
well, because I'm on, I turned 65. I turned 65 and last year. And I lost, obviously I didn't lose, my retirement, my disability ended with my employer. So that was more than half my income. The other half was the Social Security disability. So when Social Security turned into retirement, with the employer, they just throw a party over there and say, thank God he's gone, he's not on our payroll. That's gone. So at the worst time, I no longer qualified to do that. And believe me, they dumped me in a New York minute. It was fucking horrible. And I tried again this year, and again, the way they figure income, I got a 3-week in Bohica.
Turn up the heat.
Yeah, it's tough. Anyway.
But that still doesn't mean that you can't go like the American Indian Health and get a sliding scale based on income. Right?
Yeah. Instead of paying $100 a month.
God love you.
On this, I'll just touch on, when I first started Medicare, I was a captive agent. You mentioned that word. I was with United Healthcare, learned a lot about Medicare, but what I learned is, wow, you know, one company doesn't have the best options for everyone, right? So becoming a broker became the position I wanted to be in, which is where I'm at and will continue to be at. So, and my recommendation is work with a broker that has been around a while, that understands this, that's honest, that's hoping, just educating you on your options so you fully understand your Medicare supplement option, your Medicare Advantage, the pros and cons of them, and you just have someone that can help you get, you know, the best option for your current needs.
Another thing that I've heard is that, well, everybody says that the Medicare Advantage plan is required to provide anything that Medicare would do, plus all these other things. But what I've also heard is that they're beginning to push back on certain things and saying, no, we're not going to cover that. No, we're not going to cover that.
Yeah.
And that gets caught up in lawsuits.
It's managed care. HMOs are mostly what Medicare Advantage plans are, and they're probably going to slow you down to, you know, save money. And it's
Yeah, when it's a heart problem, you don't really want to have somebody slow things down.
I know.
Right.
Let's see, here's we already touched on, you know, what's happening with Medicare nationally and locally. San Diego, I think John already mentioned, or you did, about Scripps Coastal and Scripps Clinic going away from Medicare Advantage plans. There are other medical groups around the country that are also doing this, so it's something I'm looking at very closely to see how this all plays out. Medicare supplement rates are going up, right? What isn't going up these days cost-wise? So if you happen to have ADAP and be on a Medicare supplement, you see the rates that are increasing, but luckily that's not coming out of your wallet if you're on that program there. Prescription drug coverage is changing a lot. And who here doesn't have ADAP? Right. Okay, well, that should be covered. Well, so what's going to be happening? It's gotten in your way. Okay.
It's counted out some prescriptions. And then when I got a car accident 12, 13 years ago, Medicare, Medi-Cal, I sued and I sold the insurance company. They wanted their money.
Right.
To put a lien. And ADAP came in there. So the Medicare and Medi-Cal dropped it after a year. It took $300 some out of $50,000. And ADAP wanted, and I never had ADAP, just maybe a couple times for a couple of prescription drugs. And they wanted this enormous amount of money that never, I had to go to court.
Okay.
They were trying to steal. And so I was sour no with ADAP. I'll never use that ever again. And I got it straightened out, but it took a year to get it straightened out. And after they had my money, they had to reimburse my money.
Okay.
$37,000.
Wow. And
then over 2 prescriptions. So I would be, they're in the computer, so we get any kind of lawsuit or property injury things, and accidents that you have to use Medi-Cal, they come right in the door and want their money back.
Right. Okay. I am. All right. Yes.
Are you saying that they are increasing their rates by 5% every year regardless?
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, we're running out of time, but I want to sit here. These are really important things. You gotta go, but these are important things that we're learning here. I'm gonna just extend time. Okay, is that all right with everybody? Good.
Yeah. I'll race through this, and any individual questions you have, or you can email me. My cards are over here if for your specific situation. So next year, drug plans are going to probably change a lot, FYI, because more. This graph shows you here. This year, 2024, this catastrophic phase of medications is not paid for by you, the policyholder, the enrollee, right? And you can see here next year that more of the cost is going to be on the insurance company. What do insurance companies not want to do? Lose money, right? So what's happening next year is, and I'm very worried about it, is that these insurance companies, I fear, are going to start taking away high-end drugs, right? They're going to try to keep their costs lower. And I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen, but I'm going to start looking up my clients' medications and the ones that higher end drugs. It's possible that we're going to have to do a lot of work to keep them on what they need.
Mine is $25,000 projection. Is that high?
Yes, that's very high.
Now, I have to get a question.
But that goes through Part B. Okay.
Well, and as John was articulating, isn't that also, with all due respect, that what ADAP is kind of like a circus tent to protect you from, so that if you can't get that paid by other, at least if it's on the ADAP formulary contingent upon the year, it may be covered?
Yeah, so if you're on the ADAP formulary, I don't have inside knowledge of how that will be changing, but I hope it stays the way it is, which covers a lot.
Every year.
Theoretically, that's what it's created.
So Medicare.gov is a great resource for all of you to find doctors. You can do the doctor finder, look up certain type of doctors by name or by specialty. It's a very good resource. This is a resource I just recently found out about, findtreatment.gov. I got a call this week from a client that needs a surgery. His doctor says, you got to get clean and get off of these medications. He asked me, does Medicare cover these programs? I said, I just don't know. I've been doing this 11 years and haven't had this question before. But based on my research, I found this, and this helped this individual at least find what he wanted was a residential place to go to in order to clean up, get off of the medications or the drugs that he's on, so he can get the surgery that he needs.
I.e., methamphetamine and a rehab. Fill in the blanks.
For those of you that have ADAP, I think you're pretty well familiar with ADAP and the program that, when you get to Medicare, it's called the Medicare Premium Payment Program. And that's the one that I always recommend if someone has ADAP and now has Medicare. That gives you the Medicare supplement and the drug plan that is paid for by the MPPP program. Here's a list. Here's the qualifier, $75,300. You probably know that, unfortunately, too well. That's the income you need to be at if you're an individual to qualify for ADAP. I haven't met anyone that has 8 people in their household. They could have up to $263,000 of income.
It's not just based on the tax form. They do it a little differently. That's what I'm.
Yeah, and I haven't seen that part of it, so you can speak much more specifically about that. There are ADAP enrollment sites around town, and this just happens to be a list of the ones here in San Diego area. Some of you may be familiar with it. The ones I'm most familiar with is called Being Alive, which is over, I think, off 4th Avenue.
Just have your also. Just have your also.
Yes, just find someone that can help you, that you trust and like, and I believe that's where you would want to be. So for those of you that have ADAP, I would recommend getting the formulary for the drugs that ADAP covers. Because if you're working with your doctor and they're like, you might need a new medication, if you have one that works for your situation that's covered by ADAP, that's going to protect your wallet, get you the medication you need for your health. And some of you, if you have ADAP and you have a drug outside of it, sometimes it's not real expensive. Sometimes it could be fairly expensive, but this is a good resource for you to have if you have ADAP, to work with your doctor so they know what's covered. These are the requirements to have the MPP program. For those of you that are already on it, you know how to what's there. And this would just be an example. If you had ADAP and Medicare, what would you have to pay? You would have to pay for your Part A, which is generally zero. You would have to pay the government for the Medicare Part B costs. But the costs in black would be covered by the MPPP program. And that's why I always recommend it, just because you're able to see, most doctors have the freedom to go where you want to go. You can go to different skilled nursing locations, right? You're not restricted to one network of groups there. And that's it. So I was trying to
Consider this your new resource. New resource. Yes. The purview of this, what the consortium, why it started this, is the World AIDS Conference, which Mike attended, right? Basically said, we're becoming, in many ways, the HIV, the AIDS crisis still has tremendous crisis to it, and is not being, the general media does not cover this, and the people don't know about this, and people with HIV and AIDS are not getting this information. So our job here, the job of the World AIDS Conference, not job. Their message was take the message and take it out and let people know about it. That's us. That's we. That's what we're doing. So now it's your job to do the same. If you have friends or you have family, anybody that you know that could benefit from this information, talk to them about it. Tell them about this meeting, and let's keep on going. Because that's what we're doing. I'm going to cut the methamphetamine discussion now. That's a long discussion, actually. And what I want to do is to do this. I don't want to out anybody, or anybody feel that they have to out themselves as to whether they use, what they don't use, whatnot. But if we have a good survey that we can come up with here of what you're doing and not doing about it, and have it come back, that will help us with what direction we want to create a meeting that does something. Not just, we just heard that there are very few, if any, studies that are actually working for long-term reduction or elimination of methamphetamine use. I can just tell you this and leave you with this thought. If you're using, you're dying. Okay? That you're beginning the death process is really what it is. Because it chews up everything from your muscles to your organs, and it's just the beginning of the death process. So unless something is radically done differently, you're not going to be around. Especially those of us that are in this age, I mean, when you were younger, maybe you could play, and it's like making a deal with the devil. It's like, play now, pay later. It's later, folks. There is no later than now. So please take this. If you want, you can fill it out here, or you can email it back to the consortium, or to me if you want, or just give it to me. So pass these around, and then Dr. Brown, you don't have anything to announce to us. Yeah.
Well, I can, Joseph.
For those that don't know, this is Dr. Brown. He's absolutely the resource to connect with the what's it called, the health.
I don't know from the resource to connect, but I don't know if any of you were here when I researching at
National Health.
UC. I'm actually a digital health person, so I'm using these new technologies that you can and I started using one of these fancy new digital health things, and within 2 weeks of starting my clinical trial, the methamphetamine signal was emerging. And I just did like this, so what I'm trying to do is, I'm not an expert in this area, but what I am trying to do is see what's going on and try to make people who are going to be useful. And I'm looking around. So the shop tour guy at UCLA, I've emailed him.
Yeah.
I want to see if he's going to talk to me, and then this is how I regard my function, and Joe can tell you what I'm going to do is, because I've been in the profession a long time, I'm going to reach out to people who have potential and feel them out and see who they are, are they taking this seriously? Are they, are they gonna be helpful? Because it seems to me that there's an entrenched, I cannot understand how they have managed to move so blindly forward for so long. This is a very weird situation, right? Medicine doesn't normally sit there and just, this is denial.
Right.
This is absolute denial on the part of my profession as far as I can see.
Right.
So I'm trying to work out how we got here and who isn't in denial and who is going to move forward. Because there's a bigger move in our world to try and get people on long-acting therapy. I mean, for us, we wanted long-acting therapy so that if people have problems remembering to take the medication, we put them on long-acting therapy. And what's happening now is that there's more emphasis and people are trying to run trials to use long-acting therapy with people who are using amphetamine instead of helping people get off with it. I mean, it doesn't really, there's a lot of stuff that's a bit weird.
What I was always told was there's no money in it, okay? That was why, pharmaceutical companies and doctors just shy away.
Except President Biden just allocated, I thought, some funds for this.
Yeah, well, this is now. So this is now. Yeah.
Yeah.
When did you do that?
With all due respect, I don't know the specifics, but I know that that's been part of the discussion, at least in DC, because of exactly what you're saying, this kind of quiet shame, even though it'll save millions of dollars to help people get off with it just hasn't been studied yet.
Yeah, San Diego's been known as the meth capital of the US for at least 20 years that I know.
With the amount of meth,
This is not new.
Well, because we're at the border, right?
Right.
So I have a child, I raised my children here, and my youngest went to school with a guy who was an FBI agent and did stuff in Mexico and all sorts of things. And I asked him about this, and what he told, and this is, my son is now in the third year of college, so this is when he was in high school. We're talking at least 5 years ago, pre-COVID.
Sure.
And he said to me, well, they had the mom and pop shops, and everybody was doing their own meth thing. And then what happened is the cartels came in and shut them all down, and they have factories in Mexico where they're producing very high quality, very pure things, and people are running around in blue outfits with hairnets and all sorts of things. And I looked at him like this, my eyes were open, the North County housewife. And I said to him, well, what do you mean? He says, well, they bring it across the border in trucks. And then I said to him, well, you're in the FBI, and you know they're bringing it across the border in trucks, so what are you doing about it? And his words were, it's a big order.
Huge.
Well, yes.
It's a big problem.
But no, I mean, honestly, seriously, this is their thing. It's a big order. So what I experienced, and I think Joe's experiencing the same thing, and we don't understand it. There's sort of, you go into the clinic and you ask these things, and they're just sort of going like this. It's like they don't want to know. So part of the reason they don't want to know is if doctors don't want to know, it means that they feel they can't do anything about it, that they haven't got the equipment to do anything about it. So I get. So that's why Joe and I try to look at it and say, okay, what are some of the things we may be able to contribute to? We can't contribute to everything. But what is confusing, I've been looking through the literature and I've been trying to find out. So what Joe and I are seeing is that the Australians and the Europeans, see, the most obvious thing for me, the most obvious thing for me is if you have someone on methamphetamine, at least get them on prescription amphetamines and long-acting prescription amphetamines or other things that you use, right? And whenever we have mentioned this, we literally talk to psychiatrists about it. It's a circular argument. Well, we're worried about addiction. And I mean, that is the most jaw-dropping statement on the planet. You already have an addict right in front of you, and you're worried about addiction. So then you say to them, okay, and what is meth about? It's an opiate derivative, get with the program. So there seems to be something going on in the attitude. So we've,
I'm the attitude of like, why would you substitute? I've been sober for 14 years, and I go to meetings all the time, and I see people struggle with this particular addiction. And people who put down methamphetamine but continue to drink just switch it to alcohol or vice versa, or marijuana, or I believe that, you know, I believe this is necessary. I believe it's necessary to look at this stuff. For me personally, my own experience, I couldn't use anything. I needed to be off of everything.
All or nothing.
So the thing that.
And that's one method.
Taking you from, you know, the philosophy when someone comes off opiates, the opiate withdrawal drugs.
Yeah.
Is what I just said. Opiate withdrawal drugs, right? So the thing is that methamphetamine has to encourage people to have the confidence to come off it, at least give them some structure. And I'm saying that because that's a medical solution to the problem, and I've been trained in medicine. I'm not suggesting that people need to stay on that for the rest of their lives, but I think my profession should at least be investigating a scaffold where if somebody has a higher level methamphetamine addiction, and they, you know, what I went through in my clinical trial was listening. My coordinators were coming to me and they were telling me stories that people signing on to our, you know, these people are literally going through the bends of the journey in the heel.
Only up here so we can tell.
Now, so if you're in the medical profession, that's not what we sign up for. And the thing is, do we have anything there? You know, so but I think you're right. The US is a very complicated place, but it's a very complicated place, but you can't, nobody's suggesting that you have a drug to supplant another drug without proper addiction, without proper, you know, therapy, medication. But what we find so curious is, but for me, I don't know what your finding was, but for what I'm finding so curious about methamphetamine, there's nothing.
Right. Well,
I mean, nothing.
You're right.
right. See,
That is really weird in my profession.
in the past, I mean, alcohol, for instance, you have to go to detox first before they go to rehab because you could die from the alcohol poisoning. But not, with meth, the attitude was sleeping and sound.
So this, if you are coming off of heroin and like what we were talking about with like the thing step down, if I was to go into a treatment center, would the treatment center allow somebody in there doing methadone or doing the step down thing? And then how long is that step down thing happening?
See, like I told you honestly, I'm not an addiction expert. And so I do know the lady that runs the residency program or the fellows of addiction. She's a psychiatrist, and I talked to her about this methamphetamine withdrawal. And she told me, absolutely, she has patients in her clinic that have told her that it was the worst time of their life. They just couldn't believe it, right? So the thing that's odd in medicine, that's really odd, that people know that's going on and that there's nothing there. So this is what Joe and I are trying to explore just because we're medical people. But, you know, what we're coming up against is this massive denial. Oh, and I asked them, where was I? I was at a meeting and I went to because we have a big statistical group that deals with addiction at UCSD. And I went to their meeting to try and see if they were talking about meth. And I asked, of course they weren't. I asked one of them about it, and he said, "Did you go to the Croy?" And I said, I didn't because I was sick, but we had a poster there. And he said that he was very surprised that they had very little on addiction, and then they had like maybe 2 things on meth, which is weird. If you think about it, I call methamphetamine and HIV now, the spread of HIV. In my training and my when I look at the literature, I would call this what's called a syndemic. These are now 2 epidemics happening together, right?
Right, and have been for many years.
It's very weird to have this situation where there's a complete divorce from reality. That's not what I signed up for.
Medical field, it seems like the streets are ahead of the medical field. You know what I'm saying? That people that are doing it know just how horrible it is.
But have no relief, have no understanding of how to get
Correct.
off it. Can I just say one thing? I will say this, categorically, I would not be HIV positive. I had a number of moves here and I had meth back in 2003.
That's the perfect
Number
example.
one. Number two, I had no idea that in 2012, when I decided to take a job to go to develop a retirement community in Hawaii, that my ex is a child analyst and psychiatrist who helped me understand this Vyvanse. I had no idea the sub effect of having it, because I do have ADHD, was that I never used for a year by being on the Vyvanse. Little did I know then, this was back 10 years ago, and my ex will say that's the exact result of having the sub benefit of this particular ADHD medication. Why nobody's willing to talk about it makes no sense to me. Particularly when you go to Owen's clinic, and with all due respect to everybody, when you're sitting in the lobby and you see that it's obviously a problem, thank God my HIV is well controlled, but the only times that it wasn't well controlled is when I was using methamphetamine.
Well, I know guys who, I work with these statisticians, I'll never let them go.
So kudos on doing what you're doing.
Well, it's just, so I'm going to try, I'm not an expert, but I'm trying to feel out who's going to do what. So I need to, please write down the name of this doctor.
Yeah. Roger Cabal.
Okay, because I want to talk to them, but I know that the HNRC, well, I guess is anybody from the HNRC there?
Yeah.
So the HNRC has been putting in a grant to use long-acting antiretrovirals with methamphetamine for people who are on meth. I don't know the structure of the grant, but I don't think they got it first time around. I think they're going to try and redo it. And I just am hoping that they have got a component of rehabilitation in this, which I'm sure they would be happy to.
Wouldn't this be the same pathways that they're doing at Johns Hopkins with regard to ketamine and other alternatives to help people stop alcoholism? They ran to the same butting of heads at Johns Hopkins until finally you had a little bit of release of psilocybin, among other things. You're dealing, I think, with the same issue, except Vyvanse is not a control, it's not like psilocybin or LSD.
No, so it's not that I want to buy this.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just using that as an example.
What is peculiar is that they seem to want to use what has been effective in opiates.
Yeah.
And that's odd.
Well, these medications that they.
Are you talking about the Vivitrol and Wellbutrin?
No, I just, what they need to do is they need to run proper clinical trials with realistic pharmacological options to take people out of, what's this?
No, I was just going to say, as you're talking about, like, Zofran, is that an actual drug that can help people come down from?
No,
I mean, it's great
for nausea.
So basically what I'm finding, I'm somebody that does have some, yeah. Okay, so what's happening is that the Europeans and the Australians are dealing with this, and because they have more of a Kaiser system, right? They are saying they're looking at this, and they're looking at across large numbers.
What are you reading, Doc?
It's Swedish.
Oh.
He's got some stuff in Sweden. So the Danish, the Swedes, the Australians are starting to put it. I'm going to go back to England in June, so I'm going to find out in London and Oxford what the hell they're doing. Oxford doesn't have much meth, but London certainly does.
So what will these medications do that you're talking about?
Well,
Help you
the
titrate down.
question is, these people are looking at how do we help people get off methamphetamine, and how do we help them stay off methamphetamine. So the thing that I was struck by was when they have basically the doctor's relationship is with the individual, and every individual is different. And medicine is still supposed to be an art and a science. So the art science portion is when you see that individual and use your humanity with their humanity, and you with your volume of knowledge try to put them in the best situation for their circumstances and themselves. So this is not what you call a clinical trial where you just randomly assign people to this and that. But what we rest on in modern medicine, supposedly, right, is a series of the best information we can get. And part of that information comes from clinical trials. And the issue with methamphetamine is that they're not even starting any of this,
Right.
which is very weird.
What does your gut tell you why?
Okay, so right now, what the Europeans are looking at more of these long-acting preparations that have already been used in ADHD, which are used a lot in the pediatric world, right? and the adolescent world. So the Europeans are starting to look at that. I think the way that I have a lot of frustration about it, but it doesn't seem to me that people are moving forward in a common sense way like they usually try to move forward in medicine. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I think the Europeans and the Australians are, right? We have a problem. What's going across? The Danish did a transnational survey of people who ultimately, what was the outcome of people who came into hospital and had methamphetamine and la la la. So the only thing that preserved them for death was some of the people who had access to some of the longer acting amphetamines. And that's not saying that this is a solution for every human being, because it isn't.
Well, abstinence, as he was indicating, could be one. This could be another.
What do you mean longer?
So the reality is these drugs have been around a long time. So there's a number of things going on here for me as a doctor. It takes 15 years to find out what the side effects of the medicine are. Doesn't matter what they tell you, right? You'll be approved and you can do this, that, the other. Once that medicine has been in the general population prescribed as it should be, after 15 years, you've seen what you're going to see. Right? So and we've been using amphetamines for a lot longer than that. So amphetamines were around in the 60s. My mother was on amphetamines when I was being born, because that's how they treated depression. She had depression, and that's how they treated depression. So the thing about amphetamines is we know a lot about, right? So they've synthesized this meth, and they've made this meth more pure, and this is a very bad thing, and it's on the streets. And we discussed the last time the Germans apparently used it during the Blitzkrieg. It's a little. So the one thing about these long-acting amphetamines is we know. So that's actually something in the plus category, right?
Yeah.
Because but that doesn't mean that you don't try and find other agents. The problem that I'm coming across is when you look at the reviews. I don't know if any of you remember Ildiko effects.
Yes, I sure do.
So Ildiko is one of my buddies, and when I saw all the stuff going on, I pulled Ildiko.
She's a psychiatrist.
She's brilliant. I pulled her.
Like a Kovac? I'm sorry, who?
Yeah.
Kovac, I love her from, yeah.
So she pulled her into my studies, and I asked her, I said to her, what's going on with this? And the agents that they were bringing up in literature as things that they'd tried, what you'll see in the literature is we tried this, we tried that, we tried the other, and they don't work. And there was a bit of a signal, I think it's with terpene or something, but it's not a very good signal. And I asked her about this drug, and she said it's a horrible drug. If you looked at the drug, it activated, 10 different neurotransmitter systems. When some drug does that, you're like, okay, we're not good. So the thing that I find curious is that there's nothing there.
Right.
So that's a research.
Right.
That's research. That's the definition of research, but nobody's looking into it.
One of the challenges that we have is where research is driven from today. About half of the job or more of researchers, as you know, is chasing grants. So that grant money comes almost entirely from drug companies today. And so there was a conversation yesterday, sponsored by CFAR, the local CFAR.
The community thing?
The community thing, which started as a how do you deal with equity in research and that kind of stuff. And the conversation morphed into how does the community drive what we're researching? Because we're researching, the community decided the wrong stuff. And so several of us are looking to co-opt a group of HIV providers here locally to begin having a forum on what do we want to participate in for research, and see if we can't start with what needs to be fixed and then go chase grants rather than looking at the grants and see which ones you qualify for.
Well, I think you're absolutely right, but can I give you the guidance?
Yeah.
If you're going to do that and you want to
Get some results.
really have legs, truthfully.
Hello, may I interrupt?
1 second.
Hello.
1 moment.
It's Dr. Steve.
Michael Donovan, you are absolutely correct.
Thank
The
you.
group you're talking about is right now at this moment. Sarah and I are those two people, and we are working with you. And we have asked UCSD, so I think the fact that you've gotten a response from people that we have not gotten is great. But don't leave us out of the room, whatever you're doing, Michael, please. This is
No.
exactly what you're talking about. He's engaging with me and I'm engaging with him. So I just wanted to absolutely interrupt him on that. Thank
No,
you.
listen, Joe, wait. I want to tell you, I know what they're talking about. So the CFAR ran this thing a bit. The CFAR have got this business about they're going out into the community. So what CFAR did is they ran one of their community things. And I was honestly, as a provider, I was a bit pissed off because I don't think people want to be told what equity is. I mean, Jesus, you know, they have to come to a UCSD meeting for UCSD to tell them what equity is. I was like, oh God, you know, I did sign up for it, but I couldn't bring myself to go. This is the truth. So I think that if they want to really influence things, they should go to the meeting and do everything that the CFA is setting up and interact with everybody. But frankly, I would do it through this venue.
Yeah.
Because you have to have independence to have some power. And they have not been doing what's important. They haven't. You've seen this.
Yeah.
And you've got someone I'm actually inside their structure. And I retired outside their structure.
Yeah.
I'm still working, but I retired because I got so pissed off with them not doing what they were supposed to.
There are a number of us who spend a fair amount of time dealing with in the political landscape. Went to AIDS Watch a few weeks ago, talked to I think 3 or 4 of our local elected officials. I think what we need to do is to drive some of the NIH money in the right direction, and it'll filter down. If we start from the school, they're graded on, as you know, publish or perish kind of incentives, which isn't going to help us.
Well, if we just can have, you know,
It's a longer conversation.
It's a long conversation, but this is important that you
Yeah.
get out the surveys completely as you can. And you know, don't forget, guys, you know, we are talking about methamphetamine, but it's also just the fact, think in terms of addiction. I mean, I'm having a harder time getting off sugar than I am getting off methamphetamine, you know?
Right.
I mean, just think of what you think is working, what is not working. That is what we're trying to address here. What is it in your addiction life that you would like to see for yourself and others, okay? Because you know, sugar will kill you too, but methamphetamine accounts for a tremendous amount of death.
This is a secret epidemic here in San Diego.
It is.
I myself have just seen it in the last.
I have the
years.
number, but there's so
As I
many
get
deaths
away
per
from it,
night.
I continue. It's a shame-based secret addiction that nobody seems to talk about. With all due respect, I'm starting on with this. Dr. Kovac's wonderful psychiatrist, but at the time her hands were tied that she couldn't even look at any other pharmacological issues to help someone titrate down off the meth addiction. So it's necessary, critical. Yes, you can speak.
Yes, I do have a comment on that. I will
Yeah.
just mention. I will be looking at the socioeconomic aspect on multiple diagnoses, including mental health and physical issues on the individual to find out, well, because this needs to be addressed and treated in a holistic approach, in a holistic way, individually.
Well,
Because if someone, for instance, you know, has a history of addictions in many different periods of their time and different drugs, and the last one is like meth. Let's say this person is been using for 10 years, you know, in different cycles. And how is this person going to be treated to be successful in, you know,
beyond
the
addiction.
Yes, it
Yeah.
needs to be tailored to that individual. The approach holistic way.
Well,
see what are the needs.
Or a combination, no. You know, I mean, if you have to wean them off, or if they have to stay on, that's what we don't know. That is what we don't know. There's
But
some.
I agree with you. My profession, I'm a professor at UCSD. I went to Oxford University. I went to Stanford. I became a professor at UCSD. This profession has completely let this down. Okay?
Agreed.
There is no ifs, ands, or buts. I'm an expert. And we've let this down and we cannot continue to ignore this. And so I think that the community really has a very powerful role, and I would do it independently here. I would work out what you want, what's important, and then I would go to the formal meetings with the investigators and tell them what you want. I really would. Because and I think it's great that you're doing policy people. You know what? I looked because I thought there's going to be people. So I found this guy at LA, right? And I've emailed him. We'll see if he answers me, and then I'll talk to him to see where he is, because he's deeply within inside the structure, and he's old now, and the structure's failed. So is he the right person? I don't know. I can only work that out by talking to him. But I then looked at Stanford. I thought, God damn it, maybe saw at Stanford. Do you know who's into this at Stanford? A health policy guy. So I now am a visiting scholar at Stanford, so I'm going to be there next week. So I'm going to email him and ask him just to see, like, because maybe this has got to come from health policy. Like you guys are basically bringing up, I'm not somebody who's powerful, and if there's this massive hole here, maybe it is health policy that actually has to say, okay, you people need to come in and fill the hole. And so there is this guy at Stanford, and so I'll talk to him and ask him what he's doing. But it just is odd that I'm having to dig so hard to find people who are looking at something that's such an obvious problem. Right? That's really weird. So I don't know the answer. And I love the people I've worked with, but I think they would always also say the same thing. And the reason, that you talked about last time, one of the reasons that dogs don't say much is they don't have much to give. Nobody's given them any tools.
Michael, I think we need to cast our net wider, and bring in those that this is important to.
Yeah.
And get them to privately, publicly, answer honest questions out to the survey, and then pick the direction in which to best suggest them we go after the money.
Yeah, I think what we're going to do is co-opt Carla Torres' group of providers. I think I'm going to have Possibilities sponsor the first of the meetings, and we'll go from there.
We did read your introduction, Joe. By the way, but it's a little over some of us.
No, thank you. Oh, sorry. All right, thank you. I just got off the plane, so
you're far too intellectual sometimes for us little guys.
I tried to tone it down, but yeah, I mean, I probably should have had Michael Donovan read it first. He's
you're right. Exactly.
He's super good at
I tried to read it, but couldn't even pronounce half of it.
From us, and then there's Hill Knowlton's in Washington D.C. that I know people that help you get on policies that genuinely help you with it.
If anybody wants to read about the studies that Dr. Caperna has read about as part of your information, I have them right here in a beautiful little packet. So feel free to pick up them.
And there's a wonderful man called Carlos Del Rio, who is very, very distinguished.
Carlos Del Rio?
Do you know Carlos?
I am the name.
He's at Emory, and he was the dean. I don't even know if he's the chancellor now, but he's really distinguished. And they present the sort of significant posters at the ACTG.
John, thanks for doing that.
And we have patient representatives there, but there was one particular poster, and he said it was about people dying of ischemic heart attacks. And the ischemic heart attacks are directly related to, now, right?
Yes.
And they were young. Mm-hmm. And they were also mostly people of color. And Carlos lives and works in Atlanta. And Carlos stood up immediately and said, guys, we've got to get together with NIDA. We've got to get together with NIDA. We have to do this. This is pre-COVID. We have to get together with NIDA. This is an epidemic. And people just moved on and started talking about CMV. And I said to Mark, I said, look, I totally agree. We've got an epidemic in San Diego. And he just looked at this. So I think that, the question is getting the right people. So Carlos would be somebody to talk to, because Carlos is very, very listened to by the academic structure. And he's a very big wheel. I'm not a big wheel at all. Maybe my function in this is to try and feel out people and guide them towards you, so that when you go there, you'll know that they will be receptive. But I was sort of, I'll keep going, and maybe I'll reach out to Carlos and find him what's going on.
Just last thing, I said, Dr. Corners, I can sure probably show you the outcomes-based statistics of the people that are doing well on the therapy and living well, the ones versus the one that are not, is methamphetamine a factor in why they're not doing well. And I'm sure many primary care physicians would say, I see it every day.
Now, the doctors know, but somehow the research is not coming into support them, and I don't really understand. That's unusual.
Got it.
It's not something that's common.
Okay, we went half an hour and over, but have some quesadillas before you leave. That's what they're there for. And that's your reward for coming, staying late. Oh, you get this. This is his. Yeah. Please do. He's wonderful. He's very succinct.
So do we just want to leave these
More form? The packet? Here, Jerry.
Will these go to you and they'll keep kept private?
Yes. Let's go from here. And we pick them. Here you go.
How big is it?
Very Mike. And by the way, you remember we were talking about this? I still have.
Thank you very much for your help.
You're welcome.